Welcome to r/Am I the Jerk, where Karen is way too picky when it comes to dating. Am I the jerk for telling my acquaintance she should either improve herself or lower her standards if she wants to find a man? I have an acquaintance named Lola. She's 26 and she's single, and she's been looking for a partner for a very long time. She's on every dating app and wears white whenever we go out in order to manifest a husband. I don't choose to hang out with her alone, and you'll see why. But she is friends with a couple of my friends, so we hang out in groups a lot together. When we hang out, she constantly complains about her dating life. Even if we're talking about something completely different, she finds ways to make this conversation about her boy troubles. Though I avoid direct conversation with her about this and leave it to others to validate her, it has become abundantly clear why she can't get a man. Lola has a long list of demands, most of which she does not meet. She wants someone who is ambitious in his career and makes six figures. She works part-time and lives with her parents and doesn't seem to be in a hurry to move out. He needs to go to the gym regularly and take care of his body. Lola is not in shape and she hates exercise. He needs to play an instrument and be into music. Lola says she never picked up an instrument in her life. He has to be over 6'2". Lola is 5'2". She complains that when we go out, no guys approach her. But I've seen plenty of guys ask her to dance, buy her a drink, etc., and she just rejects all of them. I stay quiet when Lola goes on her long, frequent rants, but a few days ago we were at a brunch with some of our friends and she asked me specifically for advice. My fiance, Jim, is tall, athletic, and ambitious, and musically gifted, and she wanted to know how I got him. I tried my best to explain to her nicely that people tend to choose partners who are similar to themselves. Jim and I go to the gym together every day. We both are very dedicated to our jobs and we have a lot of similar hobbies and interests, so we have a lot to talk about. I told her that if she wants to find a man like that, she should consider applying herself more in her job, going to the gym, and picking up a hobby she wants her partner to have. Otherwise, she could either date a guy that's interested in her as she is or be comfortable with being single. I thought I was being very polite, but this completely ruined the mood. Lola got really upset and accused me of shaming her. One of my friends told me Lola is worthy and deserving of a great guy and doesn't need to change herself. I effectively ended the brunch with what I thought was helpful advice. Afterwards, I got some text from friends demanding I apologize to Lola, but others supporting me and telling me that I was right and Lola is way too sensitive. I was trying to help, but would it have been better if I just lied? Was that an inappropriate thing to say in that setting? Was it a jerk move for me to give her the advice? Not the jerk. You gave Lola honest and helpful advice when she asked for it. You didn't shame her. You just pointed out that people often date those with similar lifestyles. If she wants a fit, successful guy, she should work on those things herself. Lola got defensive when faced with the truth. Your friends are enabling her unrealistic expectations by saying that she deserves an amazing guy no matter what. Sometimes we need to hear hard truths from our friends, even if it hurts at first. Not to mention, there are many amazing guys who might not check off all the items on her laundry list. She's looking at a few mostly superficial things. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her friend? Please let us know. Am I the jerk for kicking my brother and his family out after his son stole my engagement ring? The reason I, 26 male, know is because I literally caught him in my room going through my things, and it's on camera. My nephew is 9 and has a habit of stealing things. They've gotten in trouble a few times at stores because he'd leave with something in his pockets. But of course, because he's a kid, they usually just say that he forgot he had it. Even at school, my brother has told me that they've had to come talk to the principal a couple of times. Doesn't seem like they've done anything to stop it. They had to come stay here with me because my brother lost his job and they weren't going to make it with all their bills, including rent. He's doing Uber right now while he searches for a job and they can move out. I didn't want them living with me because of my nephew specifically, but family's family, I guess. A month ago, I finally bought an engagement ring for my girlfriend that I was planning on proposing to soon. But now, I don't know. It's a $4,000 ring that I spent over a year saving up for. It's been hidden in my room under one of my drawers. One time, when I found him snooping in my room, I told my brother to control his kid, then got one of those cheap spy cams in my room just in case. Then last week, I noticed it was out of its box. After checking the camera, it showed he was in there again when I wasn't home. My brother and his wife have yelled at him. He says he left it by the TV in the guest room, but it's not there. They looked through all their stuff and his too. I know for a fact he's lying about not having it because that's the same thing he told me about one of my watches that he took, then ended up finding it. By the second day, my brother tells me they can't find it at all, and I told him either they find the ring or he repays me the $4,000 I spent on it. If not, they can't stay here anymore. My brother got really upset. He told me I know how their situation is right now, and yeah, it's a tough spot, but I couldn't ignore the fact that this kid he can't even parent took something extremely important to me that cost a lot of time and money. They were given a week to leave my house if they don't find the ring. They're having to stay at a cheap motel, but my brother won't stop begging to come back because what they're paying right now each night is coming directly out of their savings. He won't stop calling me heartless about letting something like this come between helping them out through a difficult time, and my nephew keeps saying that he's sorry. It's just hard right now to want them around. Don't even know what to do about the ring, and every time I think about it, it just makes me so mad that it's hard to care about their situation. Does that make me a jerk? Not the jerk. It's a terrible situation, but they should have taken measures sooner to get the kid to stop stealing. Also, I'm not sure a kid that young can do anything with a $4,000 ring. It's not like he can go to a pawn shop and sell it. Do you have homeowner's insurance? Perhaps you can make a claim. However, that may cause more problems. Is it possible that your sister-in-law or brother found and sold the ring themselves? OP. He likes shiny stuff. He stole a kid's bag of marbles from school just because he liked how shiny they were. Doesn't necessarily steal things because he thinks he can make money off of it. They sold the ring. That's why they can't give it back. What a load of thieves. OP. My watch he stole is worth way more than the ring, and my brother already knew that because a year ago he was surprised I even owned one of these. I have a wealthy buddy who gives out these kinds of gifts like they're free candy. If that was even the plan, they would have been smarter selling that instead, so I highly doubt they even did this. The thing with kleptomaniacs, they often don't know what to do with the things they steal. He may have washed it down the sink or flushed it down the toilet, buried it in the garden or something just to hide it. It's not so much about having things, it's about taking them. It's highly unfortunate that he took something so important, and his parents definitely need to get him help and should have done so already, which could have prevented all of this. OP. I've never thought about this. All weekend, I've been doing a deep cleaning trying to see if maybe he hid it somewhere. I'm praying that I find it soon. The watch he took from me was literally hidden inside one of his pairs of shoes in the closet. I don't know why he does this, but there's definitely been times that he's strategically hidden things that he stole. Update. I found the ring. It was a stressful day doing a deeper search in my house, trying to think like my nephew and looking for places where I think he'd hide something if he really didn't want it to be found. And the decision was, if it really wasn't found and my brother wasn't able to get him to talk, or they wouldn't be able to pay me back what I'm owed, then the police would get involved. He did beg me not to, but I told him, then you better pay. I find it or you come up with the money to pay me for it. Guess both of our prayers worked, because guess where I found it? In the sink. The sink! And that's thanks to the comments who told me to look in those places. I don't know what I would have done otherwise. It was the sink that was in their guest room too. I'm glad he didn't just throw it away. You guys don't know how relieved I feel. Took some work to remove the trap under the sink to get it out, but I was just so happy to find it. The same night that my girlfriend, fiance, got back, I proposed to her and she said yes. After my brother heard about me finding the ring, he thought this meant that they could come back. I said no. He wanted to argue about this again. All I told him was that he's lucky I haven't gone to the cops since there was already video evidence of his son taking the ring, and there's no way I'm letting them back in when my nephew wouldn't even say where he put the ring. I talked with my nephew myself after I found the ring, but he just said he didn't want to tell anyone because then I'd be mad at him for hiding it. Honestly, I just don't have the energy for them anymore. His problem is their problem, and hopefully they get him help before it's too late. Only thing important to me is my fiance and I starting our lives and planning our wedding. I know that my husband is cheating on me with my best friend, but if I left, he will take half. I'm a 40-year-old mother of a daughter who's 5. I've been married to my husband for 12 years. About 10 years ago, I started my business, and it's my pride and joy. I love my life and I enjoy my work. 2 years ago, I lost my beautiful mother to cancer. It all happened in 5 weeks, and she was so young, 55 years old. It sent me into shock and depression. A short while before that, my best friend found out that her husband cheated and he left her for his mistress. It was a hard time, and my best friend and I became even closer than ever before. She moved in with me for a while after my mother passed because I wasn't really functioning and she was homeless. My best friend lived with us for 1 year, and they started hooking up with my husband toward the end of that year. That's when I got home early and I heard them. I ran out in shock. I came back home a few hours later pretending nothing had happened. I managed to smoothly find her a place because I couldn't bear it happening in my home, my sanctuary, my happy place where I live with my daughter. My best friend had already found herself a job, and I took the opportunity to find her the apartment near her job. She was grateful, and I was a bit more relieved. The affair is still going on. If I leave, he will take half. It will ruin me and my business and what I'm trying to build for me and my baby. No, I don't want to leave. It is so unfair that he's the one cheating and I'm the one who will pay if I said anything. I refuse, so I'm letting it happen. Instead, I wrote him off as my companion and safety blanket. I still have lots to be grateful for: my baby, my family, and my beautiful home, and my business. Most of the time, I'm content and happy, even though I myself don't know how I'm doing it. Maybe it's the numbness or resignation, or maybe it is true contentment. But sometimes, when everything is 100 times magnified, I can barely contain my panic. Especially at night when he wakes me up because I'm crying. Again, "Are you having a nightmare?" And he tried to kiss and cuddle me to make me feel safe. I'm here, you're safe. I wish I could tell him that my nightmares are my escape from my reality with him, and that his shoulders aren't safe. He rarely asks why I'm crying. He probably thinks it's because of Mom, because that's what I tell him. But sometimes I feel like he knows, or that he can't help himself wondering, "What's going on behind those eyes? What do you mean? I can't read your face anymore." My panic has increased more these past few months since he started paying me attention again. The first period after Mom's passing, he never bothered me out of courtesy, I suppose. Then he had her, so he didn't need me. But now, I don't know what changed. They're still together, so what does he want from me? Is he testing me? I never understood why they're doing what they're doing either. I've seen their texts. There's no love there, no respect, no warmth. Not what I would expect from two people who are cheating together, especially not when the stakes are so high. You would think that they love each other so much that they're willing to pay the price in case they're caught. No, there's a lot of anger, fighting, and resentment, a lot of guilt. He calls himself and her disgusting or shells of a human being. Is that too some sort of love? I don't know why I'm writing here. I googled about infidelity and self-help, and I ended up in this community, and I read so many similar stories. Maybe I would feel better writing my own down. Please don't think too ill of me. I know that I'm pathetic, but I used to have more dignity. As someone who found out his wife had been having an affair for 10 years with the best man from our wedding, I left and she took more than half. And despite it all, I can say with the confidence born of experience that some things are worth paying for. My life improved immediately after parting company with someone who was not willing to commit to the same degree as me. Just my 2 cents. Karen demands I buy her a second home. My husband and I moved out of our home state almost 5 years ago to start our careers. We were lucky enough to find affordable living arrangements in a neighboring state and were able to buy our own home within a year. Despite our student loan debts, we were responsible with our money and didn't have any additional payments other than our mortgage. We both worked 6 to 7 days a week to maintain our financial stability and pay off our loans. And we don't have kids yet because we're trying to pay down our debts. We have about $280,000 in school debt plus our mortgage, which is about $176,000. However, recently my mother-in-law has been pushing for us to buy a house in our home state that she can use for her occasional visits, which are about 4 to 5 times a year. She wants us to split the mortgage payments between the two of us, but we can't afford this additional expense, especially if we plan to start a family soon. Moreover, we barely have time to maintain our own home, let alone a second one, and renting it out when it's not in use could be an even bigger headache. When my husband brought up the idea of splitting the mortgage payment with me, I immediately put the brakes on it. We needed to take a good hard look at our finances before committing to anything. My husband had never seen what a monthly student loan payment looks like since our federal loans have been frozen since he graduated, and I had been paying mine off even during lockdown. I reminded him that we both work too much already and that I would prefer spending quality time together rather than him working more to make payments for an extra house. My mother-in-law did not take kindly to my refusal and has been cold towards me ever since. However, my husband has agreed to seek financial advice to see the bigger picture. I'm hoping that we can find a solution that works for all parties involved without jeopardizing our financial stability or our future plans to start a family. Long-winded, I know. So, am I the jerk? She only wants to use it when she comes to visit, which is about 4 or 5 times a year? What a horrible waste of money. They have these things called hotels, motels, Airbnbs, etc. Not the jerk. Mother-in-law did not appreciate you not agreeing? Mother-in-law is a huge narcissist to expect you to pay and put her up in a house of luxury when you are a struggling early career family. Do not do this, die on this hill. Not the jerk. Your husband is a jerk for letting his mom think even for a second that this would be a possibility before discussing it with you and the two of you running the numbers together. You're not the bad guy for pointing out the obvious. You two cannot afford to take on additional debt or expenses. He needs to go back to his mother and make it clear that this is not financially feasible and that you are not to blame. The fact that he even considered paying half of the mortgage for his mom to get a second home while you two are nowhere near paying off your first or your student loans is baffling to me. Is he that bad with money? Or that much of a mama's boy? Either way, pump the brakes on having kids until you two have a very serious talk about finances. Am I the jerk for telling my girlfriend I told you so after her friend tried to get with her? My girlfriend and I have been together for about a year now. My girlfriend has more than a few guy friends, and I'm not one of those guys that thinks men and women can't be friends. However, with 2 of these guys, it's very clear that they want more than just friendship from her. Like clear as day, to the point where I don't get how she doesn't see it. If I can notice just by the weird energy they try to exude when I'm present, she should be able to get it too, right? Wrong. Anytime I've pointed this out, she gets upset with me. She tells me that I am being jealous and reading into things that aren't there. I argue back that I'm just letting her know, and as a guy, I can probably tell much better than she can realize for herself. So, 2 nights ago, she was hanging out with her friends, and this guy was present. From what she told me, they were all drinking, and he said some things that implied he'd want to get with her. She was made uncomfortable by this, and the night ended shortly after. Fast forward to yesterday morning, she got a series of texts apologizing for what he said, and then backpedaling and saying he would treat her so much better than me, and she's wasting her time with me. She of course said no and was upset with him. After she told me, I just read the texts and simply said, "Wow, who could have seen this coming?" a bit sarcastically. This set her off and she got mad. She said that I was being such a huge jerk to her and she had no way of seeing this coming. She's been upset with me since. Am I the jerk? You're the jerk. So someone made your girlfriend uncomfortable, overstepped boundaries. She did everything right, told him to get lost, and instead of comforting her and making sure she's okay, you scold her? Are you insane? She lost a friend, and you tell her she deserved it? Huge jerk. Where was the scolding? He was insensitive, yes. That's not equal to a scolding. He didn't accuse her of doing anything wrong. He was unsurprised and insensitive to her being surprised. It wasn't so much a scolding, but an "I told you so," which in my opinion is much worse, because you can at least pretend that a scolding comes from a place of concern. An "I told you so" is pretty obviously born out of satisfaction of being right, regardless of how the other person was affected. Not the jerk. But come on, man, there was no need to gloat. She's probably also sad that someone she thought of as a friend disrespected her relationship and basically only wanted to hang around with her just to date her. Not the jerk. Most people are saying you're the jerk for the "wow, who could have seen this coming?" But the fact is, you were right, and nowhere in your story did she affirm that you had been right all along. If she had said, "OP, you were right," and I shouldn't have dismissed your perspective so quickly. You probably wouldn't have felt any need to say, I told you so. What's most important now is that you both work together so that in the future you're playing on the same team instead of me versus her. Not the jerk. Actual men in real life will tell you that you're 100% correct. Most of these guys on Reddit, their opinions don't really count since most of them have never had a girlfriend and they all just compete for karma points on here. But my advice to you, break up with her now. Find someone who's smart enough to know that all of her would-be guy friends are just hoping and waiting for an opportunity to hook up. Find someone who understands how guys actually operate and who isn't looking for attention from dudes as a source of validation. That's how I knew my wife was the one when we met. We both worked at Target at the time, and I kept trying to get her to hang out with me as friends, but she kept turning me down, saying she never hung out with one-on-one guys because they always just tried to get with her. Well, once I asked her if we could try actually dating each other, since that was what I really wanted, she agreed and we were official within a few days. Now we're about to have our third kid and we couldn't be happier. Again, it may not be easy, but find someone who understands the real motive that men will always have. You'll both be much better off. I labeled all of the bottles in the house since my adult kids are idiots. I have 2 of my kids living here with me. One has graduated from college and the other is a junior. I have to purchase medicated shampoo because of a scalp condition. It's by prescription and it's expensive. It also comes in packaging that's meant to be stored upright. Not on its side and definitely not upside down. My daughter has her hair products in the shower and I do not touch them. My son also keeps his Axe body wash, shampoo and conditioner, and woman repellent in the shower. My son also keeps his Axe body wash and shampoo and conditioner in the shower. I also do not touch it since I have zero desire to smell like a high school locker room. I keep my shampoo in there as well since it's my house and I can keep my crap wherever I want. For some reason, the 2 of them cannot understand that not all packaging is meant to be upside down. They've already wasted an entire bottle of my shampoo by storing it upside down after they touched it for some reason. It all dripped out of the spout, which is not engineered for that. I talked to them both about it, and I explained that they should not touch my stuff, and that if they accidentally tip over my shampoo, it was meant to be stored with the lid at the top. I came home last week to find my shampoo leaking out of the bottle again, upside down. I ordered 500 stickers that say, "This side up," with an arrow pointing upward when the words are upright, and I put them on everything in the house that might leak, with my shampoo being literally covered in them. They had friends over last weekend and they noticed that the relish, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, everything else were all labeled. My kids were embarrassed when they explained why. They think I'm a jerk for putting labels on everything since they only mess with the shampoo. Since it is an $80 bottle, I said I would take off all the labels if they agree to pay for my shampoo. Thus far, they have declined. Not the jerk. My kids are the same way. Your kids can either learn to leave your stuff alone, put it back the way it was, pay for your medication, or deal with the labels. There are several reasonable choices there. Not the jerk. You gave them a chance. You told them why, and they still did it. Sometimes embarrassment is needed, and this was only in your house, so it's not like you forced their friends to see it. Am I the jerk for making my nephew cry on his birthday party over some gifts? I'm female, 26. My sister, who's 29, has a son, Eric, who's 8 years old. I don't visit a lot. We live far away, but I see them, and most of my family, at birthdays and holidays. When I visit, I usually buy Eric a toy or some candy, as he's my only nephew. To be honest, I like to spoil him, and maybe I am a little bit to blame for what happened too. It was Eric's birthday this week. I visited them, and I brought him a nice toy car. The car was quite big and had lights and stuff. When I got to the party, I wished him a happy birthday and handed him the gift. He opened it and loved it. He said, "So far, this is the best one," which at the time I thought he was just excited, but with what happened later, I kinda get the idea it was intended to be more malicious. Like an hour or so after the party started, when everybody had already arrived, Eric made an announcement to the table in which the adults were sitting. He said that I've won and that I was now the person who he loved the most because my gift was the one he liked the most. I thought it was sweet that he liked it. Then he told my mom that her gift sucked. She brought him a board game, so he didn't love her anymore. He also told one of his friends that next year he won't be invited because his gift was poor. He gifted him a set of dinosaur figures. I think this whole thing of ranking the gifts people got him was pretty crappy. I expected my sister or her husband to say something, but they didn't. They just laughed. So I told Eric that he's not supposed to say that about his gifts. People get him what they can, and he should be grateful with it. He then said he doesn't understand why he has to love people who don't buy him nice gifts. I genuinely can't believe my sister is teaching this BS to her son. His dad told him, "Yeah, they should give you all the best." So I then again told him that a person's worth is not about how expensive or big the gift they got him was, and that if he thought that way, then I will not be continuing to buy him gifts. Eric started to cry. My sister told me off because I made him cry, but most of my family and some of her in-laws were on my side and told them it was bad to teach their kids such things. Our mom was quite affected and I wanted to leave too, so we left after that. My sister texted me later to call me a jerk for leaving before the candles were blown out and for telling her kid he won't get any more gifts from me. She said I shouldn't make empty threats like that. I said that it's not an empty threat. It's a promise until they teach their kids some manners. Am I wrong for discussing this when my nephew was present? Am I being unreasonable to him since he's young? And would I be wrong in the future if I keep my promise and do not buy him a gift the next year we see each other? Not the jerk. What he did was incredibly rude and hurtful, especially when he said one of his friends wouldn't be invited again. I don't care that he's 8. The other kid was probably around the same age. I'm glad you're not enabling him. It's great if you buy people gifts. I'm a gift giver. But it's one way of showing love, and it's not a reason to be rude if the giver put effort into it. Not the jerk. That kid is lacking discipline and common decency. The fact that the parents are making excuses for it is just awful. They're raising an entitled brat. Your nephew has learned a valuable lesson. If he treats people poorly, then there will be consequences. Good on you for teaching him this when his parents could not. Am I the jerk for locking up my snacks and calling out the thief? I work in an office and share it with a couple of people. I like to snack. I eat through the day instead of having a huge lunch. I just have a little snack and watch an episode of my current show. I always bring it from home on Mondays. This week, it was delicious cheese, crackers, apples, cereal, and oh so wonderful Jell-O. A coworker of mine, let's call her Maddie, from a different office, saw my snacks and knows I snack, mentioned how much I brought and how good it looked. I said thanks and started putting it away in my drawer and fridge, leaving the Jell-O out because I was going to smack on that amazing strawberry jiggle. I left work early on Monday and had left my Jell-O out. I came in Tuesday and my office mate said, "Lock your drawers because people are trying to take your stuff." She's the real MVP. I 100% don't mind sharing when people ask, but to just take my stuff without permission? As an only child, that's a huge no-no for me. My office mates know this. They also bring in snacks for themselves, and we often treat it like elementary school lunch, trading snacks during our lunch period. A different coworker, Steve, came in and tried taking my Jell-O off my desk. Our MVP said, No, don't take her stuff." Steve said, "She shares, I can take it." MVP, No, that snack is from her home. If you want snacks, bring it in like she does." Steve left defeated. Maddie comes in. "Can I have a key to your fridge? I want cheese." MVP once again guarded the goods. I locked up all of my snacks. Maddie comes in a couple hours later, taking Tums out of my drawer. This time, our hero cannot stop her. Tuesday, I come back and lock up all of my snacks. I have to get up and move around constantly. One of the times I wasn't there, once again, Maddie comes creeping. She was not successful. She asks me why I have everything locked. I said, because thieves come in and take stuff without permission. She got really silent and walked away. Though my mom said she might have thought it was okay since I share and said I was a jerk. Reddit, am I? Isn't it basic human knowledge that taking stuff without permission is stealing? Even if I share. Also, everyone has my number. If they're truly hungry, they can text me and ask. Edit. Thank you to everyone that confirmed I was in fact not a jerk. To those criticizing my post for bad English or punctuation, etc., English is my second language, and I type this out on my phone. Not the jerk. People assuming that they can automatically take what's yours just because you share is garbage behavior. They can ask you if they want something. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.